Hello, this is Sean Copeland, Chairman and CEO of Regent Bank, and welcome to our final edition of Regent Elevate on this topic of the business life cycle. So as we've talked about, businesses go through a life cycle very similar to humans, where basically you start out with courtship. That's the idea of the business. You move into infancy, where you're just trying to survive. You move into the go-go years, where you're growing like crazy, kind of out of control, much like a toddler. And then you move into adolescence, which we talked about next week, which is much like being a teenager, where you're trying to figure things out. You're having to grow intellectually in a business. You're having to grow from an administration perspective with systems and processes, and sometimes that's very difficult. But you have to do that to get to what we're going to talk about today, which is prime. That is where we all want to be. Now, I want to mention to you real quick before we jump into a discussion around prime, if you're interested in the description below, what you're going to see is our YouTube channel information. So we encourage you, if you would, to go subscribe there, and you'll be able to see all of our Regent Elevates that we've done over the last couple of years or so and enjoy those. And we would love for you to subscribe with us. So today what we're going to talk about is prime. This is the place to be. This is where every organization wants to be. There's a perfect balance between entrepreneurship and growth and production, as well as culture and administration and systems. And it is hard to get here, but when you do, man, it is awesome. So let's talk about prime a little bit. And prime, it's the land of the quadruple bottom line. Okay, you've got market-leading growth and profitability. You have customers who want to buy your product. You have the best people in the industry who want to work for you, and you have very happy shareholders. It is as close to nirvana as you can get in business. The enterprise is finally both strong and flexible. So you have good systems and you're entrepreneurial. It's a great place to be. Structures and systems work well. Opposing forces are finely balanced. Administration isn't ruling with systems and controls. Production isn't ruling with sales. The two are coinciding very, very well. The entrepreneurial system is fully institutionalized. So it's not just one person driving the growth. A lot of people are, and it's really systematized throughout the organization. The management team is working well. The decision making is delegated. You don't have one person making all of the decisions. You regularly give birth to new ideas. So within a prime organization, there will be little infant efforts going on here. New products, new services, new locations, new things are happening all the time. And you operate in a focused, energized, and predictable manner. You can predict how you're going to do. You can predict what your profits and your growth are going to be. It is, again, really awesome. There's really only one normal problem that occurs within prime, and that is that a lot of times you don't have enough well-trained people to run your business units. The organization is growing to a point that you have to become an attractor of talent, and that can be a challenge. What is abnormal problems within prime are, number one, you're arrogant. You get to the point that you think you are the best and nobody can touch you, and that is a very dangerous place to be. Number two, you might run into some aging thinking. You might get to where people want to kind of protect their gains. They're not wanting to take risks anymore. They're a little bit more conservative. And then finally, there's this desire to slow the pace of change. You'll see this emerging where people go, maybe we ought to just moderate a little bit and hang on to what we've got instead of just constantly growing. Now, amazingly, a prime organization is high in all of the four critical aging areas. They're high in production, so they have good sales and growth. They're high in administration, so they have great systems and processes. They're high in entrepreneurship, so they have really good innovation and creativity. And they're high in integration, where they have great culture and their people feel very, very good about the organization. Now, what happens, though, the challenge is staying in prime. Because what naturally happens within an organization is as you become more conservative and you want to hang on to what you've built, you tend to age and kind of go over the hump, if you will. So you move into what's called the fall, and then you can move into aristocracy, where people are entitled to what they have, and then you move into recrimination, and then you move into bureaucracy, and then you move into death. And so prime is where you want to be. You just have to be careful not to allow the organization to age, because you'll move over this hump and all of a sudden start on the downhill slide and move into a death spiral that you cannot control. So I hope you've enjoyed this life cycle discussion. I think it's fascinating. It's very important to manage the business for the life cycle that it's in. Don't try to prematurely age. Don't try to do things before. And again, if you want to learn more about this topic, I encourage you to go to adizes.com. ADIZES. This is the entity in California that created this life cycle. They teach it very, very well. They work with companies all over the country, including ours, to help them navigate this cycle to get to and stay at prime. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We'll talk to you next week.